Answer Orlando. Make sure to check out the Answer Orlando app and on all Alexa devices. And Salem Now has that video, No Safe Spaces, that movie with Adam Carolla and Dennis Prager. Excellent movie. Go check it out. We're going to be talking a lot about that tonight because conservatives are going to be having a very hard time finding a place to talk freely. And schools is what that movie's about on salemnow.com. And I tell you what, that is something we're going to have a problem in, and we're going to get into that much more tonight. Listen to us on Pandora, Spotify, Amazon, and thebuffshow.com. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, MeWe, Parler, and for our Chinese friends, TikTok. And then Twitter, too, which still hasn't banned us yet, but we're still working on that. And then, of course, the more conservative they ban, the more their shares fall. So that's always a good thing. I'm your host, Matt Buff. Hashtag Blonde Patriot. Brittany Walker in the house.
Hello, hello. Happy Thursday.
Yeah, happy Thursday to you. We call it the day after.
Yeah.
The day after the first day of Creepy Joe there. What do you think of that? And you owe me 2 beers.
Yeah, I do owe you 2 beers. However, I have a whole new analogy that we'll talk about offline. But, yeah, I do owe you 2 beers. Happy belated birthday, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. A lot of fun.
And this week could have gone a lot better if Biden was not inaugurated yesterday. But we already see he's hard at work, undoing everything that is good for this country.
Oh, absolutely. And we're going to get into all that. And Ron Peri joins us today. The Buff Show exists today.
Yeah, because
large
of
in
Ron.
part to Ron Peri. So we're glad to have you. Check out buzzsawmedia.us. Awesome videos on there. New content coming every week. So, Ron, good to have you with us tonight.
It's great to be here, and happy birthday as well.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. We got a lot to talk about, though. There's this. I want to give a shout out to a listener here. Well, first of all, let's go. If you call the show 407-774-8255, we do have the prize packages from Liam Fitzpatrick's, and we're broadcasting from the Liam Fitzpatrick studio. And I want to say hi to Gabe on the bridge. What up, buddy?
I'm exhausted, man. I'm tired.
What happened? You weren't with me last night?
The adversaries, they had a really busy show, man.
Oh, yeah, Contest 30 with Thursday with the American
but I'm
Adversaries.
having my popcorn anyways.
Yeah, there you go. Good. Keep your popcorn handy. We're certainly thankful for all the work you do on the show. Yeah, let's see if this will work today, our soundboard.
It's on.
Yeah, there we go.
A man and a woman.
Yes, amen, and a woman, Ron, because it's a gender term.
Yeah.
And there's a gender problem with some of these executive orders that came down yesterday.
That's for sure.
My goodness. But we do have a caller, a listener, and he wrote us a message today, and I want to give him a shout out because he wanted us to talk about a couple things, and he says he's working. His name's Eric Wilson. He's working, and I want to give him a shout out, but he can't call into the show, but he always listens to the show while he's working.
I love Eric, yes.
Yeah, okay, so good. Yeah, that's awesome. And he wanted us to ask us about Laura Loomer getting treated, losing her 2A rights, and she's in actually Trump's district here in Florida, where he lives. Down south.
Oh, she lost her 2A rights. I didn't know about that. I knew that she got detained by Department of Homeland Security on her way back into the U.S. last week.
Yeah, the report is that she is no longer allowed to buy a firearm, own a firearm. What kind of country are we living in when this happens? She's, because of her anti-Islamic stance, they're treating her like a Muslim woman now. They took her voice away and won't let her use a gun. So because of her opinions about Islam, right? They're treating her like Islam treat women. Okay, it's backwards. It doesn't make any sense.
Makes no
It
sense.
is crazy, no question.
Go ahead, Ron. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, we've certainly gotten to a strange point where constitutional rights can just be overcome by a mandate from a department somewhere. I mean, this is nuts. I know I got my concealed carry license this past year. I didn't think I would ever have to do that. But this is the time where you have people stocking up on ammunition to such a degree that some of the lines are hours long just to buy ammunition. And the price of ammunition has gone crazy. It's skyrocketed. There are just a tremendous number of people who realize that our Second Amendment rights are at risk, and the red flag laws really are a way to bypass the Second Amendment.
Yeah, I want to say Alex from Veritas on our show this week said that there was 6 million new registered gun owners in 2020 during this coronavirus pandemic. And I want to remind all of our female listeners out there that if you don't have your concealed weapons permit yet, that we are doing a class at Veritas in Orlando, Veritas Tactical, on February 20th for all female listeners. It's an introduction to firearms course that will give you the credentials that you need to get your concealed weapons permit. And you can find this this event on our calendar page on our website, thebuffshow.com. So if you're a female listener, go check it out. It's extremely important. Like Ron said, ammunition is backstocked right now. The lines to buy ammunition and to buy guns and firearms is extremely long. And if you have your CCW, it's a lot easier to obtain a firearm than it is if you don't have one. If you don't have your CCW and you go to buy a firearm, you're going to be waiting at least 3 days.
As we go through the show tonight, I want to keep a theme going for us, because when we go through what we just talked about with Laura, and he also asked a question about the deals they're trying to make, impeachment, and apparently there was a talk about Julian Assange being pardoned, but that never happened, and he thinks Mitch McConnell had something to do with that. But in what we're talking about on the day after is from the book 1984. One of the quotes that really stuck out to me today was that in a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act.
Yes.
And that's how we roll on the Buff Show. And as our new tagline for our banner coming is what? Fearless conservatives in action. And we do want to focus on the truth.
Did you know that the shirt that I wore in the very first picture we ever took in the studio was the quote from 1984 that you just quoted?
Really? See? It's not an accident.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Because that is a way to live in this time. What am I talking about? Universal deceit. We can go down the list, and we can start with these executive orders. Let's just take COVID, for example. The death toll. We know those numbers aren't accurate. In Minnesota, they challenged it and found out they're just drumming up numbers to spread fear. But you tell it over and over and over and over again, it becomes a universal deceit. So when we say, well, maybe that's not right, and let's protect the integrity of our people and not scare them living in fear, that is a revolutionary act, especially if people take up and start questioning some of these things.
Right.
Yeah.
COVID one and protecting women is another one where you talk about the transgender, that we got to get into this.
We do.
Let's start with, there's 17 of these darn things. This is what I called harmful error. I mean, unity, I sent you an email, said unity is a dirty word.
Yeah.
Unity is a dirty word now. When you say, I want to be unified, Ron, but we're impeaching the president that people love, 75 million of them love. I want to be unified, but if you don't stand up for homosexual rights in marriage, then you're a homophobe. I want to be unified as long as you are uniform with what we believe in.
Right, and that's the great point. They don't want unity, they want uniformity. And I believe we discussed that before on the show, but it's not about uniting with people who have diversity, right? It's not about people who have different views. It's about making everyone the same, and you have to be on the same page as these people are, and if you're not, they don't want unity.
Yeah, they want to eliminate anybody who disagrees. I mean, what we've seen is the college cancel culture has now become the national cancel culture. I know that we've had folks who have worked with us where they've been canceled on Facebook, on Twitter, and other places. And this level of censorship has never been seen in America before. Marxist countries, yes, but not in America. You know, and now we're seeing the LGBTQ approach. The laws, or the executive orders, rather, that are being mandated, the edicts, if you will, that are targeting the silencing of Christians and others who disagree with regards to the idea of gender being fluid. I mean, one of the first things is male and female. God made them. Because of her... You know, I mean, it was not...
well, we should pay you the $10 million we just sent to Pakistan. You just solved the gender studies problem.
Yeah, I'll have to see if I can get a contract over there. I'll take
I'm sure Biden will take care of you. He'll sign anything as long as you put it in front of him. So you just got to get it in front of him. But to continue on to that point, because it really does go beyond that, beyond what they're doing in schools. Go back to what we talked about with Laura Loomer.
Yeah.
They want to destroy us. Nancy Pelosi sitting there, there's hate in her heart.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There is. Everybody talks about how she's this alcoholic, drooling person. No, she has contempt. Around dinner time, she's talking about those bumpkins that voted for Trump. We know that. She has contempt and wants us to suffer. There's a lot of liberals like that. That's why if you really get under their skin, they come after your rights and your speech. I mean, President Trump can't even tweet if he wants to right now. I mean, what kind?
I know.
This purge, Ron, is unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, there's no question. And that means that we have to develop alternatives, conservative alternatives. The fact that they shut down Parler and that was a conspiracy between several of the tech giants to do it. AWS, Amazon Web Services got turned off for them, their hosting platform. They were shut down everywhere else. Apple, the Androids, Google, shut them down. This is unacceptable.
And this is not unity. This is
definitely not.
One half fighting a civil war, the other half just taking it. Before we go, make a point.
To make a quick comment about Amazon. These big tech companies keep exposing themselves more and more. Just today, we saw Amazon announce that they want to help the Biden and Dr. Fauci reach the 100 million vaccines in 100 days, and they are going to require all 800,000 of their employees to be vaccinated. So these big tech companies are exposing themselves more and more each and every day.
Right. And now Josh Hawley's publisher that dropped him, he's coming over to Salem Media's publisher.
Hey, we'll take him.
We'll take him. And he's going to sell twice as many books now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's great. All right. Before we go to break, because we got Julio Gonzalez coming up. This is exciting. National tax reform expert. And he also wrote a great article that I want to talk about, too, on... it was on, come on, computer. There you go, to the Daily Caller that he wrote, talking about the power of the tax plan that Biden's putting out that's becoming very, very real. We're seeing it already at the pump a little bit. It's coming. Yep. Sam, line 1, 30 seconds. Go ahead, Sam.
Patrick Swayze is a very young man, and I believe it was called Red Dawn, where the Soviets are in Canada. Now, China's mad because of the coronavirus or whatever. They ain't been able to go there and train. Why are they above our border training in Canada? Because didn't the Prime Minister say everybody was welcome there? Remember when Trump got elected?
It's a good point. Yeah, I mean, and I know Trump tried to stop them from training in Canada.
I love you guys.
We love you.
All right. That's it. Thank you, Sam. Harry, line 2, 30 seconds. Harry.
Just wanted to say hello and also remind everybody that Donald Trump is not the president anymore. They can't impeach him. He's out of office.
Yes.
Yes, by the Constitution. You're exactly right. Is this Trump, baby Trump? Is this
This is Trump, baby Trump.
Trump,
You
baby
know
Trump?
it, man.
Yeah, there he is. I knew it was our Harry, our beloved Harry Martin.
One-man rally.
Yeah, Harry's on strike 3 with the show, but he's welcome here anytime
Yes, he
because we
is.
are a 16-strike show.
All right.
Yeah, Harry. No, Trump 2024 or somebody just like him or the Republicans are going to lose. You got to have that fighting spirit, the spirit of 1776, which we're going to talk about later, was one of the executive orders banning the commission on 1776.
Yeah.
They want to change history, Harry.
Excuse me?
The liberals want to change history.
Of course they do. They want us to believe that in 1619 America was formed. Because they're dumb, man. They're just dumb.
Well, we're on Facebook.com/The Buff Show Orlando. Harry, keep that going for us. We love your comments in there. Thanks for listening. We're going to get you back in the show. Right now, Gabe, we're going to go to break because we got to get to Julio Gonzalez. We got to break down the financial impacts of what's going on in this country just in the last day. You stay with us. We'll be right back on The Buff Show, 407-774-8255. Map off Brittany Walker, Ron Peri in studio, Julio Gonzalez coming up. Stay with us.
Action Plus Pressure Cleaning is the official pressure washing company of The Buff Show. While Matt's doing the dirty work on the show, Action Plus Pressure Washing has been doing the dirty work for the last 15 years in Central Florida. They use a soft wash system to clean pool enclosures, driveways, pool decks, houses, and commercial property. They even clean large and small parking lots and buildings. Wow! Action Plus offers other services such as lawn maintenance, one-time service to weekly service, mowing, weeding, edging, and trimming, and hauling away debris. You can get more than one service, and they offer bundle pricing. Check out their weekly, bi-weekly, and monthly services for lawn maintenance and ask about their free standard 2-driveway with house wash services. Family owned and operated. Get your free estimate at actionpluspressurecleaning.com or call 386-506-1048. That's 386-506-1048. Action Plus Pressure Cleaning. They aim to please.
Since 2012, Cellular-Tronics has been providing Central Florida with the best phone repair, electronics repair, and computer repair. They fix all electronics from iPhone, Samsung, Sony, and many more. They also do TV repair and fix your tablets. Right now, you can get a glass back cover for the iPhone 8 to an iPhone X for only $95. iPhone 11 and up back covers are only $120. They've got 2 locations to serve you, one in Sanford, the other in DeBerry. Visit cellulartronics.com or call them at 386-516-6185. That's cellulartronics.com or call them at 386-516-6185. Cellular-Tronics.
Veritas Tactical, a family and law enforcement owned company where you can get custom built ARs with purpose built precision. They have a full line of handguns like Glock, 6 Sauer, Smith & Wesson, and get your everyday carry items and accessories. Moreover, they are your Liberty Safe dealer. Need training? Veritas Tactical has all you need, from getting your CCW to advanced tactical courses, female survival courses, and force-on-force scenarios. Veritas Tactical has a full-time gunsmith on site, Cerakoting services, laser engraving, and more. Mention the Buff Show and get a $25 discount on courses. You'll find Veritas Tactical at 207 North Goldenrod Road, Suite 200 in Orlando. Contact Veritas Tactical, 407-309-3000. 407-309-3000 and at veritastactical.com. Veritas Tactical.
Be a part of the Buff Show. Call now at 407-774-8255.
And God known by many names, by many different things. A man and a woman.
Now here's your host, Matt Buff.
And Brittany.
Welcome back to the Buff Show. Matt Buff, your host. Hashtag Blonde Patriot. Brittany Walker in studio, along with Ron Peri. How you guys doing? Having fun so far?
So far, so good.
Great.
Yeah. When you're talking about bringing the country together and you punish different people in the country, it's kind of weird. And they're doing it by policies. I've never seen a president cost 11,000 jobs on day one with the shutdown of the Keystone Pipeline.
Yeah.
Shut it down. That laid off 11,000 people. Who does that on day one?
I know.
Yeah, and Canada objected to it. They're not happy.
Yeah, they're not happy about that because that's a benefit to them and us because we're buying the energy from them.
Who signed 17 executive orders on their first day in office? Because all of his predecessors, Bush, Clinton, Trump, they all signed one, if any. We have 17 that were executed yesterday.
Just 'cause they were ready to go. And it was funny because he spent the last year talking about those 17 things. Now what's he going to do? That's
I
it.
know.
He's done it all.
I know.
That's
That's
it.
true.
I'm done.
I'm done. I can go play golf or sit in my nursing home.
God, that guy's an idiot. He can go down and bowl for all I care, down in the Harry Truman bowling alley. Okay, very cool. We got a special guest on the line here. Julio Gonzalez, national tax reform expert, founder and CEO of Engineer Tax Services. Mr. Gonzalez's focus was to bring specialized engineering tax studies to mainstream America, which has historically only been available to Fortune 500 companies, and he actually worked with President Trump on the Trump tax plans. We got a lot to talk about finances. Julio Gonzalez, welcome to the Buff Show.
Thanks for having me. Really pleasure to be here.
Well, it's great to have you. We saw your article on the Daily Caller. This is becoming, you said the threat of tax hikes is becoming very real. These executive orders alone hurt many people already across the board.
Oh, my God, what a painful day yesterday. You guys were talking about all the jobs lost and the inflation that'll come from, being back to oil dependent on foreign companies, right? And then we let the immigrants back in, right? So they'll be taking the jobs. We rejoined the Paris Accord, which who pays for that? The taxpayers pay for that, right? So, and next week they'll take all the public lands away across the United States for drilling and oil, and so it'll be more jobs lost next week, more increases and more independency on all of those areas, right, on energy, right, which hurts all of us. And then quickly they've talked about repealing tax reform that we did in 2017, which means that income tax rates will go up for all individuals that pay taxes and for all small businesses. And the big corporations, they'll do what everyone does in New York and California, which is just leave, right? So they'll leave to go back over. We worked so hard to get these companies to bring the jobs back. Now they'll go back out, right? Because they're not going to pay the higher taxes here. They'll find other places. They'll repeal the opportunity zones. We work so hard to bring back impoverished communities, bring jobs to them, and have tax incentives to do so. So they want to take that away. Remove the tariffs, right? So now we're going to have to lose those jobs, be dependent back on buying foreign goods, bring back regulations. If they want to do that, they're going to do that in the executive orders next week as well. So more cost to job. And then they want to, as you guys had discussed, bring back artificial wages, right? Fixed federal wages at $15, so that hurts the low-entry person coming in, the seniors working out there, and that's just more job loss, right? And all these social programs they want to fund, that comes from the taxpayer.
It's really sad that anyone in America could vote for Biden, under these circumstances. But the problem that we have here in this country is that people are so uneducated about what they're actually voting for. Prior to, radio and what I do now, I was actually a new market tax credit lender, which specialized in lending to these opportunity zones that Trump created. And so if it wasn't for the fact that Trump had, created this new program for economic growth in the low income communities, my job would have never existed. But people who aren't seeing it firsthand or who are in the fields like, you are now or that I used to be previously, they're so just ignorant to the truth. And, I think that we really just need to focus these next 2 to 4 years on how do we get, how do we educate people properly? Because now we see with the executive order that he signed yesterday, they want to take down the 1776 Commission and patriotic education. They want to keep dumbing down America. That's how I see it, Julio.
Well, I see it the same way you do. And obviously, Biden said that he's going to repeal the new market tax credits. He's going to take those away and take 1031 exchanges away and, all the tax benefits for small businesses. And remember, when we took the income tax rates down, what happened? More money went to the Treasury. More money went to the IRS because the money was being circulated, right? People were spending money on their businesses, hiring people that paid taxes. The money was going to the stock market and the taxes with capital gains there, and obviously the money went to the bank. So how do we educate people? Well, thank God for people like yourselves on the radio that are getting this message out, right? I mean, can't the people in California, New York, Illinois, New Jersey see that the companies are leaving already to go to Florida, to go to Texas, and those jobs are going away? And the tax base is going up, but the people that pay the taxes are also leaving, so it's stuck with all the people that, the middle class, lower class, that are paying those taxes.
Yeah, he's also looking at the possibility of taxing unrealized capital gains, which for listeners who may not be familiar with it, this means you've got a stock, it's gone up in price in the market, but you haven't sold it yet. Well, you may get taxed on
No way.
those. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you begin thinking about the 401ks and people maybe who started out with $50,000 in their 401k and it's $400,000 today. Those unrealized gains may be taxed. They've discussed that. Okay, they're.
Oh no, they've more than discussed it. It's in their plan.
Okay.
So it is in writing on that.
No question about it.
Oh my
And
goodness.
look, that what's going to happen, that will be the sell-off, right? Everyone will sell off their stocks. People will take their penalties and get their money out of the 401k, and it'll go right into the, under the mattress, in the pillows. I mean, the money won't get circulated because they want to tax unrealized gains because they're creating this huge deficit above and beyond where we stand coming out of a pandemic, right? So what do we do out of a pandemic? Raise all the small business income tax rates, the individual tax rates, put this massive tax burden on them because we want to join Paris Accord, let the immigrants back in and fund them as well, and all these other social programs. How do we come out of a pandemic with that burden on the U.S. American citizen?
I just want to make sure our listeners understand what we're saying here. So you're saying that if you purchase a stock, the price goes up and you sell it, you're going to pay taxes on that at the end of the year. But if you purchase stock and the price goes up and you still hold on to it, you're still going to get taxed on it. So there's no way to avoid the tax. Is that what you're saying? That you'd get taxed?
That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
That's what they're proposing.
Okay.
But, how does it's like raising the income tax rates. How does that really work? Because
that's just unreal.
Because everything's going to go down. So it ultimately never works, right? So they're not going to collect any taxes because the stock market's going to go. There is going to be no gain.
Wow.
But this is their thought process, right? that's the thought process in California and New York. We raise the income tax rates, we'll make up this deficit. But really, they don't make up the deficit because the taxpayers leave. And then what happens? The Democrats win, and so now you and I in Florida get to bail out everyone in New York, Illinois, and California.
Do you think that some of this is really the Cloward-Piven plan being implemented?
No question about it.
Well, hey, can you stay with us, Julio, for one more segment after the hard break here?
Happy to do it.
All right, great. Craig, stay on the line. We'll get you coming out of the break. You stay with us on the Buff Show, talking money. That involves everybody. All right, stay with us.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Despite calls for unity under President Biden, 7 Democratic senators have asked the Senate Ethics Committee to investigate Republican Senators Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley to, in their words, fully understand their role in the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol. Democrats Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island, Ron Wyden of Oregon, Tina Smith of Minnesota, Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut, Mazie Hirono of Hawaii, Tim Kaine of Virginia, and Sherrod Brown of Ohio are the 7 senators. Thousands had gathered that day as Congress voted to formally certify Joe Biden's win over Trump, while Hawley and Cruz led objections in the Senate to Biden's victory. Cruz and Hawley have both condemned the violence. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 12 points, the Nasdaq rose 74, the S&P 500 advanced 1. More on these stories at srnnews.com.
A boring website can make your company look really bad. Poor rankings on Google, Yahoo, and Bing means your company does not exist to thousands of monthly searchers. I'm not even on the front page. Come out of hiding with JJC Marketing Solutions and get found to more and more new customers every day. At JJC Marketing Solutions, they offer state-of-the-art website creation, Google SEO, PPC campaigns, and social media marketing that makes your company stand out. No need to go with those national companies that only care about you on the first call. JJC Marketing is located right here in Sanford, and the goal is to help businesses like yours succeed. Get better results. Call 321-765-7710 or visit them at jjcmarketingsolutions.com.
I'm somebody now!
JJC Marketing Solutions.
Liam Fitzpatrick's Restaurant and Irish Pub in Lake Mary. Happy hour drafts every day of the week and all day Sunday. $1 off drafts and house wines, $2 off well liquors. And Liam Fitzpatrick's has tons of special events tonight. It's Taco Tuesday on Thursdays. Live music and specials all night on tacos, tequila, and margaritas. Fridays, live music and happy hour, then brunch with $10 champagne over the weekend. Mention the Buff Show. Get 10% off your order. Liam Fitzpatrick's Restaurant and Irish Pub in Lake Mary. LiamFitzpatricks.com.
Cutting edge.
I see this election cycle as liberty versus tyranny.
Addressing those issues where faith and culture intersect. Buzzsaw Media.
Freedom isn't free. You have to fight for it.
Cut through all the ambivalence, propaganda, and misinformation. Buzzsaw Media is razor sharp, assembling documentaries, presentations, podcasts, and various communication tools to disseminate the knowledge, both to those who may agree or disagree.
There are people in this country who would love to see this country fail. There are people waiting to see this country on fire.
Enter into a personal quest for truth. Buzzsaw Media, YouTube, Facebook, and in all social platforms. Seek the truth. Buzzsaw Media. Since 2012, Cellulartronics has been providing Central Florida with the best phone repair, electronics repair, and computer repair. They fix all electronics from iPhone, Samsung, Sony, and many more. They also do TV repair and fix your tablets. Right now, you can get a glass back cover for the iPhone 8 to an iPhone X for only $95. iPhone 11 and up back covers are only $120. They've got 2 locations to serve you, one in Sanford, the other in DeBerry. Visit Cellulartronics.com or call them at 386-516-6185. That's Cellulartronics.com or call them at 386-516-6185. Cellulartronics.
No social distancing needed here. Get up close and personal to the Buff Show.
Santa's going to be very good to me. I can tell.
Now here's your host, Matt Buff.
And Brittany.
Welcome back to the Buff Show. Matt Buff, your host. I was laughing. That was Andrew Cuomo. Santa Claus is going to be very good to me. He's the only one. Only people in power in New York have any fun in New York. But Matt Buff, your host. Brittany Walker, my co-host. #BlondePatriot. Rolling along, talking taxation.
Yeah, really, really important stuff. Stuff that every American needs to hear because it is going to affect every American.
We're going to try to break all this down as much we can. Ron Peri in studio with us, too. Great to have you. You were talking during the break about what you said at the end of the break. Give a quick synopsis of what you just said.
Yeah, the Cloward-Piven strategy. Most people haven't heard of this, but Richard Cloward and Frances Piven, man and woman, actually husband and wife, were both professors at the Columbia University School of Social Work. And they developed a strategy that they initially laid out in the liberal magazine The Nation in an article called The Weight of the Poor, A Strategy to End Poverty. What it really was an approach to bring in Marxism. And the goal was to so overwhelm the welfare system that you would collapse the economy. And when the economy was collapsed, people would turn to virtually anything and would give up the Constitution, would give up any number of different things in order just to save their families. The strategy actually worked in New York, and New York City wound up declaring bankruptcy, you may recall.
You mentioned these two. Yeah, you mentioned these two were at two very important ceremonies.
Yeah, actually three, because they added in the motor voter law. When they saw that their strategy wasn't working, that the economy was so robust, it was handling this dramatic increase in the welfare rolls. They added in and were successful in getting the government to implement the motor voter law, where when you get a vehicle registration, you wind up getting registered. When Bill Clinton signed that, you can see them in the picture directly behind him because they sponsored it. And then if you look at the dais for both of the inauguration ceremonies for Barack Obama, you will see him, see them behind him fairly close.
Amazing.
Okay.
That's how close we are.
And that's a lot of what's going on now.
Sure.
The presumption should not be that the goal is the improvement of the economy. It should be that this is a threat. This government is a threat to our economy.
This is. We talked about it last night with Veritas about the threat to the Second Amendment. Now we're talking about the threat to the economy.
This is intense, though. This is something that, you wouldn't think, what I have a hard time wrapping my head around is why would a leader want to destroy a country? Every day I think about that, but every move that they're making.
It's not. But the way they think they're helping the country.
Right.
But they're so backwards in their thinking, it's just wrong because think about it, if you studied liberal policies your whole life, that's all you know. Craig, welcome to the Buff Show. 30 seconds to Craig. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. The most important thing I think to do is to beware of the retroactive taxes. So we basically have to make a minimal income and avoid taxes at all costs, no matter what. Like I liquidated my piddly retirement account yesterday. And one other thing, the fair tax, which is great, call it the no income tax, no asset tax bill, which will be a constitutional amendment. That way the news media cannot criticize you as a politician.
Julio Gonzalez, I want to throw that one to you about what Craig just said. What do you think about the liquidation and then also the fair tax?
Well, certainly that's what they're trying to push to solve some of these questions. Look what's going on in California. And this is the map for what's going to go on federally right now. California wants to tax your income and wealth no matter where you are, no matter when you left the state. And if you got an education there, they're taxing you on your earnings wherever you are in the world, right? That's what they're passing there. And who follows after that? New York follows after that. Illinois follows after that. Then New Jersey. And then it becomes a federal issue, right? So this is what we're seeing. And we're seeing the blueprint that you guys just talked about, right through the Clinton, Obama era, and they're right on the blueprint of all of the things that are coming right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, what we're going to have to do, I believe, is take it state by state. And I believe that states need to pass laws that insulate their citizens from these taxes.
You called it sovereignty earlier.
Exactly. And I think also that as we deal with this administration, with their massive overreach, we need to work on those states like Florida and make sure that voting has integrity, make sure that the schools are addressed and really reinvigorate the federalism that already exists within our Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Sharon. Sharon, 30 seconds to you on the Buff Show. We're talking taxes and money.
Hey, Sharon.
Hey, Brittany. It's not a tax. Sorry.
That's
my
okay.
Question
Go
is,
ahead. That's okay. Go ahead.
My question is, could we have a special election? The stack of
Don't get her started.
He's telling you, don't get me started.
Go ahead, Sharon. Finish your question. Go ahead.
Yes. Okay. The stack of executive orders Biden signed yesterday was already prepared. Okay, fine.
Mm-hmm.
But what about the legislative branch of government? They need to take care of us. We need to stand up quickly before this thing get out of hand. It's already getting out of hand as quickly as the snow, as the flakes, we cannot get this out of hand.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I think Congresswoman Marjorie Greene is trying to take the lead on that, along with Lauren Boebert. I mean, there's several that we have in office that are taking the lead. But actually, as we were doing this show, Marjorie Greene just filed articles of impeachment against Joe Biden. What does that mean? Well, that would mean that if it even gets through, we'd be stuck with Kamala Harris. So, but I think they are trying.
Hey, one at a time.
Yeah,
That's
one
fine.
at a time. I think they are trying to get us to a point where we very well possibly may have a special election if we can just work it the right way. And I know, I would say 80% of America is hoping for the same thing that we are.
I want to go to Ron and Julio on this question. Thanks for calling, Sharon. That's an excellent point. Julio, you first, and then I want to go to Ron because I know you both want to tackle this. When does according to American Constitution, we're going beyond the plans here. When can Congress, the legislative branch, step in if somebody is doing major damage to the infrastructure of the country?
Well, I'll take that on first. I mean, they can step in immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're starting to see that, right? You're already starting to see some of that action. And let me tell the audience something. I was at Mar-a-Lago last night at Palm Beach, and President Trump was in amazing spirits. And his staff from D.C. has been flying in last night, all day today, and they're really getting prepared to do some significant reach out and a plan for 2024. And I got to tell you, the energy...
Breaking news on the Buff Show.
Yeah, that is breaking news.
You know, the energy there was strong. The president is reinvigorated. His team is flying down here. We'll be in full force here next week. And I think he, with his following, the MAGA group, and all the conservatives that are behind him, are going to start to, reach out to Congress and start these initiatives. And I feel confident, more than ever last night, seeing the president in good spirits, seeing his team get prepared here, knowing that his path is for 2024 and he's committed to that, that I think, there's going to be some great things that come from Palm Beach, Florida, and I think it's going to happen quickly.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
I think we have to besiege our legislators. We need to call them. We need to send emails. We need to write letters. If we can see them in person and get appointments with them, we need to do that. We need to first protect President Trump with regards to impeachment and the rest so that these legislators don't make stupid decisions on that, whether they're Republicans or Democrats. We need to help them to know that it's going to cost them big time. And beyond that, we need to view ourselves as people who do not accept this. We resist it, not in terms of violence for sure, but we need to be looking at the schools. And if your public school is going to embrace these transgender ideas, you need to fight that. We need to fight at every level the implementation of these executive orders that go against, just basic logic and science beyond, core values.
Well, we're going to dive into the social stuff in the next segment for sure. But to put a bow on this, and Patrick, stay with us. We'll get you on the line. We know about the good news. That was awesome. So stay with us. But the Paris Climate Accord is something that is very expensive for Americans. Projected to cost 400,000 jobs, an average income of a loss of more than 20,000 for a family of four, and Julio, a $2.5 trillion hit to the nation's gross or the nation's GDP. Let me ask you this: the Biden team pledges to be a president for all Americans, but how do all Americans benefit when you're talking about opening travel from terror hotspots? You're killing women's sports and bathrooms. You're providing a giant amnesty to 11 million illegal immigrants and opening the border and stopping construction on something that protects us like a barrier. And then you want to tax. I mean, he's the first president to come in and immediately lose 10,000 jobs. This track is not good.
Well, he's not America first, and he proved that when he and his whole family were using our taxpayer dollars to set up these initiatives in China and Asia and profit from it, right? And that's why we have a path to impeachment immediately, right? I mean, they took money from the Department of Treasury, the U.S. IRS, and that's already known business, right? And I think he hoped that winning this election and having the big tech behind him would get this thing resolved. But I tell you what, that's not going to happen. We're starting next week in Palm Beach with President Trump and getting these things under scrutinized in Congress, and we're going to get that process going right away.
So, Julio, you'll be working with the president on a future solution for taxation for America.
No question about it, every day.
Well, anytime he would like to call into the show, he has little time, downtime. If you talk to him, have him call into the show. It doesn't hurt to ask, right?
Doesn't hurt to ask.
Julio, you've been great. Any final thoughts as we wind up this segment about what you wanted to say about all these things that we're talking about today?
Well, I think what you guys were saying is that we do make a difference, and we can make a difference, right? You can go to your schools. You can go to your Congress people. Those events make a big difference, and we have a voice, and we have to use that voice, and we have to get behind our President Trump and know that there's a plan out there for us to get through this and get back on top and get thinking about America being great again and putting America first again.
Julio Gonzalez, everybody. Check him out on the Daily Caller. Where else can they find you, Julio?
Yeah, tax reform expert, and I look forward to helping anyone with issues about taxation, and we're going to get through this, I promise you.
Well, we'd love to have you back on the show because as this big stimulus bill that they're talking about, this $2 trillion, we'd love to get you back on to break that down on another show. How does that sound?
Happy to break it down anytime.
Okay, thank you. Julio Gonzalez right there. Let's go to Patrick McGarvey before we go to break. Patrick, what up, my friend?
Texas, and you were talking about taxation. You know how I feel about taxation. Taxation
theft.
Is theft.
Yeah.
All right.
They're stealing from us.
Putting that aside, I am in Dallas, Texas, with my client Corvain Cooper, who is freed from a sentence of life without the possibility of parole for trafficking marijuana only, no powders. And I'm going to bring him home tomorrow to Los Angeles to his mother and his daughters, fulfilling a promise I made almost 8 years ago.
Wow.
President Trump signed that. Yeah.
Did he really?
And who called the family? Wasn't it Kelly? Who was it that called the family?
Ivanka Trump called Corvain's mother and said, "My dad is letting your son out of prison tomorrow." He was extremely impressed.
That's amazing. That's
so amazing. Great
What a
news,
wonderful
Patrick.
family. Wow.
Yeah, it was the best. They were the best of my lifetime.
Yeah,
the
best first family.
Yes, of my lifetime, for sure. Patrick, congratulations. I know you worked so hard on that. What were your thoughts, Patrick, when you got that news? What was the first thing you thought? Because you've been working on this for so long.
I had fallen into a sound sleep, and I was woken up at 12:45 at night, because that's when Ivanka had called. They live in Los Angeles. They're on the West Coast, so they're 3 hours behind. Ivanka had called my client's mother, and his sister called me, and his best friend called me, screaming and crying and shouting, and woke me up out of a sound sleep. And I was so excited I couldn't get back to sleep. The next day, I got on a plane, got right to Dallas, and waited for his friend to bring him here from the prison. And we sat up until about 5 in the morning last night talking about all sorts of things.
Wow.
And spent the day together here, and we're coordinating, one hell of a reunion tomorrow. He hasn't seen his daughters in almost 7 years. He hasn't seen his mother or his father or his sister in almost 4 years since they moved him from California to Louisiana. And Donald Trump fixed the problem that was created by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris that many years ago.
Amazing, because that was a result of the 1994 crime bill. All it did is lock young black people up. That's all it did. Yeah. for silliness.
And throw away the key.
And throw away the key on
for,
them, too.
For nonviolent drug offenses.
Yeah, think about that. A life without the possibility of parole for a marijuana offense. I mean, are you kidding me?
Even in the 80s, that's a bad thing.
But during coronavirus, all these Democratic-ran states wanted to free sex offenders and murderers because of the COVID numbers in prisons.
They were bailing rioters out of prison.
Just think about that. The philosophy is so backwards.
Well, congratulations.
And not only that, Barack Obama had denied him clemency a few years ago. We had to wait for Trump to take office to fix this problem created by the Democrats.
Well, to President Trump, all lives matter, including people that were screwed. I guess Alice Johnson had a big thing to do with that, too. She was very instrumental. So very cool, Patrick. Thanks for calling. I'm glad you called to tell us that. That is awesome. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys. And by the way, happy birthday to Matt Buff. Aren't you glad that your mom chose life instead of sticking a needle in your head and suctioning your brains out that many years ago?
I'm very grateful for that. And your birthday wishes were the best that I got. Yeah.
Right? Aren't you a day before, Matt? Yeah.
Yeah, a day before. Yes. He got
a
nice
birthday ever.
Celebrate big. Yeah, celebrate big.
All we got is a Biden presidency.
Well, we will.
But yeah, the clemency is awesome. All right, we'll be right back on the Buff Show. Got to head to break. We got one last segment. Sam asks, why do we need the electoral votes and not people's votes? Because we do not let New York and California decide our elections. However, we had a big problem due to COVID with the mail-in votes, where we outlined in detail for you guys the fraud with the ballot harvesting, and ID verification is needed. Election reform saves our republic. We got to do it, and we got to be focused on that. That's why we have Electoral College. We'll be right back on the Buff Show.
Veritas Tactical, a family and law enforcement-owned company where you can get custom-built ARs with purpose-built precision. They have a full line of handguns like Glock, 6 Sauer, Smith & Wesson, and get your everyday carry items and accessories. Moreover, they are your Liberty Safe dealer. Need training? Veritas Tactical has all you need, from getting your CCW to advanced tactical courses, female survival courses, and force-on-force scenarios. Veritas Tactical has a full-time gunsmith on site, Cerakoting services, laser engraving, and more. Mention the Buff Show and get a $25 discount on courses. You'll find Veritas Tactical at 207 North Goldenrod Road, Suite 200 in Orlando. Contact Veritas Tactical, 407-309-3000. 407-309-3000 and at veritastactical.com. Veritas Tactical.
A boring website can make your company look really bad. Poor rankings on Google, Yahoo, and Bing means your company does not exist to thousands of monthly searchers. I'm not even on the front page. Come out of hiding with JJC Marketing Solutions and get found to more and more new customers every day. At JJC Marketing Solutions, they offer state-of-the-art website creation, Google SEO, PPC campaigns, and social media marketing that makes your company stand out. No need to go with those national companies that only care about you on the first call. JJC Marketing is located right here in Sanford, and the goal is to help businesses like yours succeed. Get better results. Call 321-765-7710 or visit them at jjcmarketingsolutions.com.
I'm somebody now!
JJC Marketing Solutions.
Action Plus Pressure Cleaning is the official pressure washing company of The Buff Show. While Matt's doing the dirty work on the show, Action Plus Pressure Washing has been doing the dirty work for the last 15 years in Central Florida. They use a soft wash system to clean pool enclosures, driveways, pool decks, houses, and commercial property. They even clean large and small parking lots and buildings. Wow! Action Plus offers other services such as lawn maintenance, one-time service to weekly service, mowing, weeding, edging, and trimming, and hauling away debris. You can get more than one service, and they offer bundle pricing. Check out their weekly, bi-weekly, and monthly services for lawn maintenance and ask about their free standard 2-driveway with house wash services. Family owned and operated. Get your free estimate at actionpluspressurecleaning.com or call 386-506-1048. That's 386-506-1048. Action Plus Pressure Cleaning. They aim to please.
cutting edge.
I see this election cycle as liberty versus tyranny.
Addressing those issues where faith and culture intersect. Buzzsaw Media.
Freedom isn't free. You have to fight for it.
Cut through all the ambivalence, propaganda, and misinformation. Buzzsaw Media is razor sharp, assembling documentaries, presentations, podcasts, and various communication tools to disseminate the knowledge both to those who may agree or disagree.
There are people in this country who would love to see this country fail. There are people waiting to see this country on fire.
Enter into a personal quest for truth. Buzzsaw Media, YouTube, Facebook, and on all social platforms. Seek the truth. Buzzsaw Media.
The Buff stops here.
Look, we're at an extraordinary time in our country's history.
On AM 950, FM 94.9, The Answer. Now, here's your host, Matt Buff.
And Brittany.
Welcome back to the Buff Show, burning through an hour on 94.9 FM, AM 950. The Answer. Matt Buff, your host. Hashtag Blonde Patriot. Brittany Walker. And then there's Harry Martin in the chat room. What up, Harry? Thank you for the wishes. That's awesome. And Ron Perry in studio with us. Everybody doing good?
Fantastic. Doing good.
I want to get in the social stuff. Let's go to Christy on line 1. Christy, 30 seconds to you. Go ahead on the Buff Show.
Hey, guys. I love your show, by the way.
Well, thank you.
Welcome and happy birthday, Matt.
Thank you so much. It's fun. I'm still a little buzzed, but I think I'm good.
Hey, I think we all are.
Yeah, exactly. What was your question for the show?
Now, listen, I don't know if it's a question more than a comment, but here's what I see happening. I think we're all kind of at a standstill of what is going on. We've had a lot of information, a lot of disinformation coming at us. We do know that Biden was inaugurated. Trump left the office, but he did say he would be back very soon. My take on this is this, and it's more a comment than anything because I've been following all this for a long time. I do think that our nation, here's what I will say, our nation is awake.
Oh, yeah.
They don't call it the Great Awakening for nothing.
Well, I tell you this, did you hear Julio on the earlier segment? He's on the Trump tax team. The breaking news on the Buff Show is they are in South Florida working on the 2024 campaign already. We did not know that, but we're the first show that got to break that from one of the Trump's tax team. That gives us hope because we were saying earlier too, Christy, if it's not somebody like Trump, the Republicans are having a very difficult time. This is the the direction of the party, and it's up to the people decided that.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I'll go one further. I believe with all my heart there's a new party happening. I'm going to say this. I don't know what's going to happen between that new party and now, but you've got enough awoke patriots that if something crazy starts happening with this Biden administration, I don't think you've even seen what you saw at the Capitol, and I don't mean the crazy people that went inside the Capitol. I don't mean that.
You're talking about the honest
patriots. By the way, let me just be very clear here. The true patriots who just stood outside to let their voices be heard in a very patriotic and a very peaceful manner. When you have your voice that's standing there to be heard and it's overrun, by the way, by a factionist Antifa group that was not a part of the Trump administration, not a part of the patriots and the true patriots of this nation wanting to have their voices heard because we don't believe, by the way, I don't believe that Biden was sworn in legally under legal votes. When you have that happening and it's still pandering out there, you cannot keep going forward until that is resolved. You can't. I don't care what anybody says, you cannot on either end. What I'm going to say is this, whatever happens, maybe, hopefully in the next 4 years, and I do believe we'll have some kind of new party involved, and maybe Trump will be a part of it, maybe he won't. But you've got patriots now that are awake, Their eyes are open. More people are standing up, sitting up and saying, I hear it, I get it. Biden, I don't, for good or bad, Biden showed his true colors in the first day of inauguration.
Oh,
right?
yeah, we're going to
That's
talk
all I'm
about...
going to say about that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that more. Christy, we got to let you go. We got 40 seconds left on the show. Let's get her a free appetizer.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. Children should be able to learn without whether they will be denied access to the restroom, the locker room, or school sports, the executive order read. But if I had a daughter, I don't want men going into the restroom with her. We've gotten packed. We talked at the very beginning of the show, when a lie becomes mainstream, the truth becomes revolutionary.
Yes.
The truth is, trans dysphoria is a real thing. These people have a problem.
Yes,
we
they do.
not punish little girls' sports by letting boys play their sports.
It's like Abigail Schreier said, a new glass ceiling has been put over girls' heads.
Absolutely. More on this next week. Have a great weekend on The Buff Show.
At FM 94.9, The Answer, WORL, Orlando. It's 8 o'clock.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. Speaker Nancy Pelosi said Thursday that House Democrats will move immediately on a massive coronavirus relief package. Capitol Hill correspondent Bernie Bennett has more.
House Democrats have scrapped votes over the next 2 weeks to consider the various provisions of their COVID